Hey guys and gals, how you doing? Kevin Okwan here. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and show you the back end of a webinar that we had. So we had a massive 2-hour long webinar not too long ago. And the first half I was answering questions on the marketing side and answering questions on UpGroup itself. And then from there, we had Hitesh pop on. Hitesh Juneja came on, and he went ahead and answered all the Carefree Now questions. What you're about to see is the second half of that webinar where he specifically answered Carefree Now members' questions, and it's definitely worth a listen. Anyone who has any questions about what we're doing with Carefree Now, all right, you should definitely listen to this. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this on over to the last part of that webinar. It's about an hour long, 48 minutes long, and it's going to really help you understand what we're doing with Carefree and where it's going, okay? So have a listen.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Excellent. Excellent. I was giving all the answers to the question.
That's funny. I'm like about 80 questions above that, buddy.
Okay, so let's look at the question. What is the question about CFN?
Oh, there's a couple of them. Let's see. Submitted a CFN order won't get past a personal info page. Error.
Okay, so if they're getting an error on that particular page, it is likely because they are submitting their documentation, which is their IDs that they have to submit. They're probably submitting them in a file format that is unsupported. If they would simply send a message on the support page and say, I'm uploading this and I'm getting this error, then actually a person from the staff who is called a patient intake specialist, this is somebody who is a HIPAA compliant individual, they will actually go ahead and call up the person and they will help them through that process. Okay, so you guys don't have to stress about it too much. That is likely the cause. And the support page is on the main side. If you go to Carefree Now, there's a page called Contact. It's right there in the top menu. If you click on Contact, there's a form there that you can fill out and you can send the question in. Okay, who ordered the kit? Okay, so they don't order the kit. Remember that the patient requests a kit. Okay, the ordering of the kit happens inside UpGroup where you're able to order the kit on their behalf. Now, this is very important to understand how this works. The kits, the way these work with the labs, they're not like a constant supply that are just sitting there. They become available in batches. Okay, so sometimes we have more than enough and they're always available in a batch. If you go there and you try to order a kit, that just means that the batch has run out and we're waiting for the lab to send more. We're actually going to put a message about that back there. Kevin, if you want to log into your UpGroup account or maybe my UpGroup account, I can show them an example. Okay, actually, I can take over the screen if you want and
have at it, my dude.
Do it.
All right, get your questions, guys, because Hitesh is the man.
A man, not the man. That's
man.
Correct. All right. Okay. Let me know if you guys can see the screen.
I can see it. Can you guys see it? Very cool.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so within right here in your reports, within Carefree Now, you will see the patients who have actually finished all the steps and they have requested a kit. And you'll be able to click on Order Kit here, and you'll be able to place an order from here. Now, if you're unable to, if it resets it back to 0, that just means the background supply is currently 0. And we will add a message back here where if you click it and that doesn't happen, it'll show a message saying we are awaiting a shipment or we are waiting a new batch from the lab. Okay, and I say lab, it's multiple labs. We're waiting for a shipment from the labs. So guys, just to let you know the background process, what happens is the labs actually send a bunch of these kits to a clearinghouse where they are repackaged, a prepackaged label is put on them, an instruction packet is put into them, and that's where those wait. And then when a patient requests the kit, that kit is sent from the clearinghouse to them. That way they don't have to pay the postage and stuff. Okay, so just letting you know there's a background process here. Many of you have done e-commerce before, so you know there's always stuff happening behind the scenes. Now, if you try to request kits and you just resets the page and it doesn't let you buy them, it just means there are none of those pre-postage paid ones available in the clearinghouse right now, and those get restocked twice a week usually. So we will put a message on there. We're just working on an API connection with them right now, so it's automatic and we can update that. But all you have to do is just wait a couple of days and then you can update it when you're ready, okay, when that comes back in place. And it's usually 2 to 3 days. Okay, can we print out the forms for patients to fill out and make them available? Yes, you can actually take a form for the patients. We're actually going to put an actual physical form back here in the CFN portal. The reason why we have not done that is, and I don't know if any of you are in the medical space at all, there is a lot of malpractice that happens with people who print out forms and they go and misrepresent things to people, or they incentivize people and then they send a filled out form to us. That's actually one of the reasons why we prefer, and why Carefree Now is actually able to exist, and why we prefer an electronic health record system. So one way that you can do this is that you can actually take your phone or take a mobile device of any kind, like a tablet, and you can actually just go to somebody and you can have them fill it out on the device, or they can create an account right then and there and do it themselves. Now, what that does is that keeps everything compliant. That way, we don't have to worry about the fact that you now have the information of somebody, because now you have to be HIPAA compliant and you have to worry about whether or not you're accidentally exposing patients' information. So there's all sorts of stuff there. That's one of the big reasons why Carefree Now exists and why this is in business and other people who are trying to do this are not. It's because here, the patient puts their information in and not a sales rep. And that's a huge difference when it comes to compliance and laws. Okay, so this is a very good resource for us, and we're actually pretty excited we have exclusivity on it. So you just want to take an app of any kind. You can take your phone and make it, work with that as well. Where do I access the support page? Right here, Mary. So you see this button right here on top on contact. It's on the home page of Carefree Now. You click contact and you will send this support question in here. And if you just say, I need a call from a patient intake specialist, I'm stuck on an issue, or I'm unable to progress, actually a patient intake specialist will call you up and they'll go over the things with you. So this is mobile compliant right here. This will actually work on your phone. There is an app system that we are working on. Now, let me clarify where we are with that. So there's an app that Carefree Now also has, which is an app that you'll be able to send to people. They can download on their own device. They can enter their own information. Now that app is ready. However, we are the ones holding that back because we want to be able to track referrals through the App Store and so on. And that's what we are working on, amongst other different things. So once we have that figured out, all UPGROUP members will actually have a special funnel for Carefree Now, where you will be able to message an app, literally in a text message or in an email or on the phone. You'll be able to send the app over to your contacts. They can download the app on their phone, fill out the stuff whenever they want to on their own time, and you will still get credited for it. And you can imagine why that would be kind of crazy if that actually works and we're able to make that happen. So right now it looks like we will have that, but we are just working out all of the specifics that go into the HIPAA compliance around that, the referral kickback laws, the federal rules on how kickback mechanisms work. There's a lot of stuff on the legal side that has to be cleared up on it. How to set up the time for doctors to call. Okay, so the doctor times are actually set up once you have, not you, but once the patient has filled out the whole form, and once they have actually received the kit. At that point, a patient intake specialist will contact them and let them know that a doctor is going to speak to them. The kit will not go to the lab until a doctor has actually spoken to them. Is that clear? Does that make sense? Would you like me to draw out the whole process once so everybody is super clear on that, or is everybody clear on it already? Okay. Alrighty, let's do that. So we will go back to Paint, which, as you all know, is what I use.
This is great.
Why complicate things, right?
This is awesome. You guys, if you have Carefree Now questions, guys, definitely ask him right now, because you got Hitesh. He's the brain. Okay,
so here's how it goes. It's a pretty simple process. We're going to make 5 steps for it. And you have to remember, you're only involved in 2 of the steps. Everything else happens in the background, but it's important that you're able to explain this process to somebody when they ask. Okay, so step 1 is patient fills out the info. Okay, this means all 5 steps. They complete all 5 steps. Okay, when they complete the 5th step, they push a button that says request a kit. All right, and we're actually working on something that I'll explain at the end of this that will make that process even easier for us in a second. Okay, so patient fills out the whole information, and then the patient requests the kit. And this is what you will see in your UPGROUP back office. Okay, so right here, as you can see, when a patient has done that, you will see that step. So registered means that's somebody who has registered and created an account. This is somebody who has completed the pre-qualification steps right here, and they have filled out their personal info, but they have not filled out their medical information. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and take a look at this back here. Okay, so you see how these two are labeled pre-qualification. These are a series of questions that determine whether or not they are pre-qualified for PGX or CGX, right? Once they have filled this out, these two steps, you can see that their status in your back office is going to change to pre-qualified. Okay, so registered is somebody who has created an account. Pre-qualified is somebody who has completed the two steps. Now, next thing they do is fill out their personal information. Okay, personal information is where they'll put their name, their address, their phone number, their ID, their state, which has issued their ID. They'll include their insurance information. Obviously, I'm not going to go to this page, so I don't accidentally expose some patient's information. So when they have done that, it's now going to change to awaiting medical information, because now they've given us personal information, but we need their medical records. Then they will go to the medical information, and this is where they'll answer these series of questions. Do you have a history, or do you have current medical conditions like this in your personal life or in your family, right? Depression, stroke, hypertension, stuff like that. Once they have entered all this information, it will change to medical information received. And then finally, when they have requested a kit at their address, this will change, and you can actually see that they can also track their status right here. So once they have requested a kit, this changes to awaiting a kit. Okay, so very straightforward, guys. It's all of it is kind of done for you. It just happens over here, and then you will click on order kit, and now you will send the kit to them. The kit will arrive to them in less than 5 business days from the day that you order it. It's usually 2 to 3, but it can take up to 5. That's how long it's going to take. I know some people had questions about the viability of the kit. Is it going to be safe that long? Is it fine to hold it that long? The kit has a shelf life of about 3 years if it's not opened. And from the day the kit is open and you have a swab, you have the human tissue swab in there, and it's actually been put in there, you have 90 days of an additional time period at room temperature. That will stay fine. So you have plenty of time. Don't be concerned about that part. Okay. So you do not have to enter their information for their physical address and stuff. We actually have an API port on this where it'll automatically route the kit to that individual. Okay, so that's also taken care of right then and there. Now, next, what you're going to do is the patient is going to do the swab. Okay, and they are going to send it to the clearinghouse, to the address that's on the kit. And remember, that's the postage is already paid on that, so they don't have to pay for that either. Okay, patient swabs and sends the kit. So here are this is where your responsibilities end. All you have to do is send the patient to Carefree Now and make sure the patient swabs and sends the kit to the clearinghouse. Okay, that's all. Now, from that moment on, the doctor's office will contact the patient and do a consultation with them. Okay. And at this point, the doctor will write an official order for the genetic screening or for other medical services that will be added in here. Okay, and we are looking at a lot of them. I don't want to go into all of those, but we are actually evaluating right now PTSD. We are looking at anxiety. We are looking at pain. We are looking at medical devices. There's a whole lot of stuff that we are looking at right now, and we're in the process with 2 of them already. That as it's done, we'll be able to port that over into UPGROUP as well. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of stuff you'll be able to give away for free beyond just the genetic screening. Okay, now we look at the doctor consults with the patient, and now the lab receives the kit. Okay, lab receives the kit and performs the tests. Okay, and performs the analysis. All right, now your responsibilities are done, by the way, right here. Once the patient swabs and sends the kit in, you don't have to follow up with them or anything like that. Everything else is going to happen automatically. The doctor will consult them. The doctor will contact them. They'll consult. The lab will receive the kit. The lab will do the test. The lab will send the results back to the doctor. And now the chain goes backwards. The lab will now send the results to the doctor. The doctor will communicate the results to the patient. The patient is going to hopefully thank you, and money is going to flow up to you in this exact same flow. Okay, so right here at this point, once the results have been sent, that's when Medicare will reimburse. And this will flow up to you. Okay, and like we said, Medicare will reimburse an amount to the lab will reimburse an amount to Carefree Now will reimburse an amount to UPGROUP, and UPGROUP is going to break that up into referral commission service fee and into the check match fee and put that in your accounts. All right, is everybody clear on this? Does it make sense? Awesome. Okay, so the question from John. So the doctor consultation is after the kit is sent to the patient. Yes, the kit is sent to the patient first. However, the kit does not go to a lab until the doctor confirms all of that information. Okay, so that's why we have actually a whole clearinghouse that Carefree Now runs that's set up in between. Alrighty. Okay, so now also hopefully guys, you see when this is such a big process, this is very similar to kind of how Amazon has established dominance, right? Because there's all sorts of stuff in the background that happens with repackaging and shipping and warehousing and all that stuff that Amazon takes care of, that they make that completely streamlined and invisible to both the consumer and the seller. And that's what Carefree Now is doing in the medical space. They're taking all of these processes that happen in the background that are very complicated, and patients don't like dealing with it. And we obviously as marketers don't want to deal with it, but there's a huge public benefit to these services. And so Carefree Now is basically there to make this stuff happen in the background, and we as marketers can interact with it, and patients can interact with it to get free services, hence the name Carefree, right? That's where it's coming from. Then you can be carefree and you're going to get free care options. This is the whole idea behind it. Okay, so we get to benefit from this. I'm personally really excited about where this is going to go. I know from a marketing perspective that there is this big question mark on, well, how many days will it actually be when we actually get paid? Like I explained before, this actually speeds up over time as more and more data is sent into the labs. So this will get faster over time, but you don't have to worry about or be so focused on, but when will that get paid out to me? The reason being very simple. Once you've sent a patient into Carefree Now, even if they don't qualify, even if it's not validated, even if they're not going to have a reimbursable CGX test or PGX test, Carefree Now is going to add on another thing, let's say a pain medication system or a metabolic supplement system or maybe a medical device, all sorts of stuff. And in many cases, there will be things that are not just limited to Medicare. There might be things that are covered by many different insurances, stuff like that. When they add that in, your patient automatically gets a follow-up. They automatically get told if they qualify for a service, and you automatically get, your service fee. So it's a very, very powerful thing. And I frankly think over the next year to year and a half, we're going to see a huge movement on the side, because so far, e-commerce has done a really good job of simplifying consumer products. It's not done a very good job yet of simplifying actual healthcare or healthcare devices or, healthcare services. So this is kind of what Carefree Now is leading into, and we get to benefit from it. All right. Any questions, guys? Or is everybody clear on this? Legal liabilities. Good question, Gina. You don't have to worry about legal liabilities as long as you're following some very basic common sense rules, and they are the rules that are right here on your system setup. Every time you try to get the link for Carefree Now, this is going to remind you over and over. Do not share anybody's information. Do not try to trick people into the test. Don't try to incentivize the people on the test. All of that kind of very simple stuff. So just read through this and read through these, and you will be in the clear as long as you can follow these processes. Does the site pre-qualify the customer? Yes. Okay, actually I said that I'm going to talk about something cool that is in development right now. And like I said, since we are the EHR developers on Carefree Now, we get to see all the cool stuff that's happening. So one of the things that Carefree Now is implementing right now is it's actually doing a dynamic validation. What that means is as the patient is filling out these forms, by the time they get to requesting a kit, it automatically figures out whether or not it's even worth getting a kit for them. And if it's not worth it, it'll actually tell them, you don't need to request a kit. You don't need this test. You don't need a doctor consult to be able to tell that you don't need this test. So we're not going to let you request this kit. Instead, we're going to recommend that you do these things instead. And they're going to add that on along with additional services that might be beneficial. So in some cases, it's just 2 or 3 things. In some cases, it also gives them the ability to work through a different insurance mechanism. And in additional cases, it'll also give them option if they just want to purchase something directly, that will be an option as well. So to give you one example in all of this and why this whole ecosystem makes so much sense, and I think it's going to get very exciting, especially for Kevin, since he's such a CBD guy. So let's say, for example, 3 months from now or 6 months from now, Carefree now adds in anxiety management, okay, where they will actually provide a service where they will actually be able to provide billing for anxiety issues. What is a product that benefits anxiety? This is a question for Kevin. CBD stuff, exactly. So one of the things that we are discussing with Carefree now is having the ability back here for allowing people to go and purchase directly from Metabolic Design. Now, guess what happens when a patient you referred purchases from Metabolic Design? Who gets credit for that sale? You still get credit for that sale because the system notices that you referred this patient to Carefree now. Is it okay to incentivize to enter the funnel? Absolutely not. That's actually one of the key points right here. You should not incentivize anyone. Okay, if you incentivize anybody, not only will the reimbursement not be made available on that, it will also result in termination of your account. That's the hard reality of the Medicare system. Guys, keep in mind, the money side is great. The money is almost a side effect in this case. Why we're actually doing this is because this is a very genuinely needed service. Like I said, it's a very, very good service. It's something that many, many patients benefit from tremendously. Okay, in many cases, it also prevents deaths from complications from taking the wrong medications. However, the money is very good. It's a side effect. It happens. But don't do this primarily thinking, oh, I can, here is a way that I can find a loophole to try and get more people through it. That's just going to end up badly for everybody involved. Just think of it very genuinely, almost like a doctor. Do I know somebody who's going to benefit from this? I'm going to send them to this link because they don't have to spend any money. They can go through this process. They can enter their information in there. That's all you have to think about. Everything else is just going to happen in the background. And let it just play out. Let it do its own thing. And you just are there to benefit from it. It kind of boggles my mind because half of the time, what people do when they join a company is they keep going on and on about, how they're having to do much, right? Most people who join a company, their whole angle is to try to do as little as possible. Then along comes a system like this, where you literally have to do very, very little. You have to give away something for free, and then you have to click a button. That's all you have to do. And people are like, well, can I also do this to make it better, to make it faster? No, you can't. Don't try to. There's lots of fines involved. There's lots of problems involved. Just let the system do its thing. All you should focus on is 2 things. How do I expand my UPGROUP sales team? Because that's where you're going to build the big check matches from. How do I get more people? How do I get more patients into Carefree now who will benefit from the services there? And let the system do its own thing. Like I said, the first 3 months, you focus on building your sales team. You focus on getting people into Carefree now. The next 3 months, you're going to see automatically an income building from that, from the check matches and from the recurring things that happen.
Keep those questions coming as long as we got Hitesh, guys. This is awesome.
Okay, sorry, I think I'm back on.
You're here. We gotcha.
Yeah, that was my headset dying.
Don't worry about it.
That was the beep was my headset dying. Okay. Any other questions, guys, on this process? If you have somebody that you referred and they're not showing in your reports, send a support ticket to UPGROUP and give the name of the person that you referred, ideally the email. So this is the email that they use to create their Carefree Now account. If you ask for that, if you send that in, we can actually contact the Carefree Now department. We can actually track them down for you. We can't put ourselves into the system to get paid. No, you can't run yourself through your own link because that's a form of incentivization. You should run yourself through the system by just going to Carefree Now directly. In that scenario, actually, the person who would benefit is your referrer in UPGROUP, which is perfectly fine. That's not incentivization.
Yeah, and I'll stick a link back there to your, here's what I'll do, guys. In Carefree Now, I'll put a video back there, and I'll put a link that you can safely go sign up through and do the testing. And it will be your sponsor's link, okay? Does that work, Tesh?
That works perfectly fine.
Just make sure you're not signing up your spouse and sending your spouse through it and trying to cheat the system, because that's still you benefiting. Okay, guys?
And Norman will obviously be very happy to send any of you a link if you need it. Norman is always there, waiting, just waiting for the right opportunity. Yep.
Yelling
Okay.
in the chat, so, glorious beard.
What about incentivizing somebody for the UpGroup funnel? That's not a problem. If you're going to incentivize somebody to join UpGroup, if you say, hey, join UpGroup and I'm going to put $10 towards advertising for you, or I'll help you advertise or whatever, that's totally fine. As long as you're not incentivizing a patient to join Carefree Now. That's all. Mothers, aunts, uncles, in-laws, all of them are okay to refer. Yes, that's not a problem. Okay, so when you say that you are a member with no sponsor, you actually don't have a way of knowing that, because we don't display sponsors in here. There's a reason for that. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, you can actually contact support on UpGroup and we can take care of everything right there.
Yep. And the way do we design the system, guys? This is why. How many webinars have you guys been on me? Give me a number. How many webinars have you been on with me in the last 2 weeks? Like 8, 10? Yeah. This is why we do this so much, because you shouldn't need, in traditional MLMs, what happens is too many. Get out of here, Denise, with that too many. What happens is you come in and you bug your upline, and they end up going, you know what? I don't want to be bugged by a bunch of people anymore. I'm out. That's literally what happens, guys. So what you're supposed to do is hop on these calls. This is why I do so many, so we can get every question answered. So you don't need an upline. If you joined, you don't need anyone to help you. This is why I'm here for you guys all the time. Okay. Oh, check this out, Hitesh. This is a good question. Okay, and I really want you guys to perk up on this. Other companies can't do this. Then they have quit ? Or been canceled. So we have had companies that have dropped out of this space quite recently. And I was telling everybody on the call, go after those reps. Okay. So Hitesh, can you talk about why this platform is the only one left standing and it has just in its infancy actually taken everyone else out?
Yeah. So it's the big reason behind that is actually one of the questions that were asked earlier. The way people were doing it is that they would run around with these forms in their hands. They would try to swab. They would have these swab kits with them. They would swab whoever, because their whole focus was, how many swabs can I get? How many people can I get to take this test? And they are going around collecting people's information, collecting people's IDs. That's a gross violation of the whole system. Now, on top of that, there have been some recent rule changes where you cannot do cross-state call centers either. You can't have somebody calling up somebody, pitching them on joining Carefree Now or a system like it, or getting tests done if you're across state lines. There's a lot of different regulations in the background. What Carefree Now does is that it allows you to have a platform where the patient enters their own information, right? That means you as a referrer doesn't have their information. You don't have a picture of their ID. You don't have access to anything unless they give it to you themselves, right? And that makes this completely safe, completely compliant. And this is the kind of stuff that the labs want to work with. Because in the background, you have a system that figures out whether or not the patient is actually solid, whether or not they actually qualify, whether or not they're going to benefit from this. The data goes from there to the doctor, from the doctor to the lab, and it's completely secure. So Yolanda, just to answer the question, you're not violating the HIPAA law if you help somebody fill out the whole form inside when they ask you to. It is a HIPAA violation if you got somebody's account, took their information, and shared some of that information with somebody else. Then it's a HIPAA violation. And you can see how easily that's possible if you're running around with a bunch of papers, getting people to just fill out a form on paper, and you're not a medical professional at all, and you're just doing that over and over. You can see how that very quickly falls under HIPAA law violations. Very quickly, you have ID protection issues. You have people whose identity gets stolen, and then they have problems, and they have to end up claiming that maybe this person who took my ID card to do this genetic test, maybe they stole my information. In fact, Medicare sent a notice out telling everybody, hey, there's this fraud going around where somebody goes around pretending that they work for genetic testing. I should actually find that. I'll actually find that and open that up for you guys in a second here. And that's another one of the reasons. There are so many reasons built into that. And if you think about it, this is a very obvious solution. Make an app that people get on their smartphone. They can fill out the information themselves, and the information goes to a physician. Nobody else even thought of doing. So that's why this is such a powerful system. And like I said, it's exclusive to us. Now, an interesting thing that's happened is there are a couple of other companies in this space that have been doing this that have literally stopped doing it. And the labs in the background and the service providers in the background are actually coming to us saying, hey, we have all these leaders who have been part of these companies. Can they come on Carefree Now? So we're actually doing a lot of updates in the background on Carefree Now as well to accommodate many other different things too. So this is going to be a huge thing, guys. This is very similar to, for those of you who worked with us back in 2013, when even kind of drop shipping and doing the e-commerce stuff was kind of a little thing. And the whole idea was, hey, you can make an extra $500 to $1,000 doing it. And then it kind of blew up. And then we had people making millions of dollars with it. That's where this is right now. This is the e-commerce of healthcare, and it hasn't existed until now. And it's just starting to happen. And like I said, we have the exclusivity in here. So very, very unique situation that we find ourselves in.
And hey guys, I'll also have this in the FAQ section. I'm going to take just this portion out. I'm going to email it to everybody so they can get this Q&A. And I'm going to put it in the FAQ section and on another page for you to share with people. So when you guys are out there and you get all these questions from people that are, you know, you've got the answers right here. Say, just listen to this and it'll have your link to sign up, okay? So if you have any more questions, definitely ask them while we got attached.
And also, guys, keep in mind that this is an industry that's constantly evolving. So we are constantly going to be adding more things in as they come, you know, as they become available or as things change, whatever it may be. We'll constantly be doing that as well. That's why it's so important for us that you are not in communication with an upline, because it's very important to us that you have the correct information from the right sources, which can only be us, right? We can't have a scenario where somebody does something wrong and says, oh, well, you know, my upline said that. And the upline is somebody who, you know, deactivated 2 months ago, and we can't even chase the person down to figure out why they said that. Medicaid isn't going to care that some random person in the system said so, right? So that's why we're very careful about where you get your information from. Medicare Part B is fine, John. And actually, if you saw in here when I was logged in, you will see that there are different ones for, you have Aetna, Cigna, Humana, UHC. These are Medicare PPOs, and you have Medicare Part B. These are all accepted. There are more that are being added on right now, just so you're aware. There are more being added on. We're constantly adding more things in here. And then the new services that will be added in here, they are beyond these alone. Okay, so for the other services, there'll be additional things that they can also be covered under, including some private health insurances, not just Medicare. So we will update you guys on as and when that happens here as well. But again, I have to return back to the original thing. Don't get so sidetracked. Remember what your business plan is. Okay, business plan is different from your business angle. This is your business angle with which you build a sales team in UpGroup, because it's a very strong business angle. Anybody who is in any company right now, the moment they hear that you can make $500 giving away something that can save somebody's life, costs them nothing, it's a very exciting proposition. Here is how I'm making. This is how I'm making money in 2019. I'm making money in 2019 by giving things away that cost nothing. That's a very exciting angle. You use that to build your sales team. And as your sales team is being built, you will see Carefree Now kind of taking off. You will see your metabolic design business kind of taking off. The other two verticals we're working on will be added in here as well. You will see all of those things kind of just automatically take off as you have people joining your sales team in UpGroup. And that's one of the reasons why we went back and forth on this. We did not want UpGroup to be a very expensive program at all. We did not want to have a $1,000 product or a $2,000 product in here for that particular reason, because you can now easily build your sales force in here. Can I wear a shirt or a hat with an inscription as a genetic screening agent with UpGroup? Yes, you can absolutely do that as long as you follow the rules that you've described. That's perfectly fine. Age limits on the upper side. The upper side for genetic screening is 80 years. We do not want to swab anybody 80 years or older because prevention at that age is for one, almost impossible because you have the natural process of cells where they are, going haywire. But also, at that point, the benefit of prevention is significantly lower than finding out if you are going to be sensitive to a certain drug at 30 or 50 is going to be a huge difference because now you are preventing, maybe 30 years of incorrect medications, or you're preventing 30 years of figuring out that, this particular cancer is a problem. At 80, that's not as relevant. So that's why physicians won't recommend it. Physicians will say it's not medically necessary, and you won't have things like Medicaid actually covering it. We just need to build a firm foundation. Absolutely normal. So that's exactly how you should think of it. So your sales team in UpGroup is kind of your foundation. And then these back here are your business centers. Your sales team is constantly generating you an income across every business center. As we add more business centers, your income goes up if you have a sales team in here. Otherwise, you're stuck working all the sales centers yourselves, right? And that's not leverage. Then you're limited. That's the difference between why we did drop shipping, right? Because we leveraged the infrastructure of eBay and Amazon to make a lot of money. Now we're going to leverage the infrastructure in the healthcare side and the infrastructure on UpGroup of your sales force. Let the sales force, which is like eBay, do the job of selling the system, which then the infrastructure of Carefree now, which is like the Amazon, fulfills the actual product sale. And you just sit there collecting your check matches. When a customer requests a kit, that's what I was just describing, Sheldon. So going forward, in the next update that Carefree now currently has scheduled, I believe the next update is scheduled for Tuesday. That's when we usually get our update on the kits as well. I believe they're implementing what they call smart validation. And smart validation basically forwards the information in the background to an AI system, which then comes back and says, yes, this person qualifies. No, this person doesn't qualify. Don't let them request a kit. So that's actually going to make this an even stronger system than right now, because we can actually figure out whether or not we should even let them order a kit yet. Other things that are coming where the person can be under 60. Yeah, actually, Devon, just to clarify, even CGX PGX stuff is applicable for people under 65. That's not a problem. I was saying the upper age is 80. We don't recommend it for people over the age of 80. Below the age of 65 is perfectly fine. We also have the other stuff that's coming right now. And again, guys, saying it again, this is all in discussions at the moment. It's looking very promising, but when it's finalized, it'll be back here. The other stuff that we're looking at right now does not have the same restrictions in some cases. We are looking at stuff that is not limited to just Medicare, and we're looking at stuff that's not limited to a certain age group. If we use ringless voicemail, we can only do them in our own state. So Mary, if you are specifically calling Medicare members, you can only do that in your state lines. We're actually going to go over this with our legal team, and we'll publish some additional regulations back here if needed. But these are all very minor regulations overall. If you're doing common sense stuff, you don't have to worry about them too much, because the system is designed to not require your input. That's really what they're looking for. All of the regulations are basically designed to make sure that people don't have access to other people's data when they don't have the right to. And this system already enforces that, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But we will still add some things back there. I want you to think about this as much as possible in sense of this is a word of mouth thing. This is the kind of thing that you want to proudly share word of mouth, because you're not pitching them on anything. You're not selling them any products. You're not asking them to buy your magic lotion or something. You are simply saying, this is a service that you will really benefit from, doesn't cost you a penny, nobody's going to ask for your credit card information, go sign up. So think of this as a word of mouth thing. This is one of those things that you really want to get out of the house for if you need to, and actually start speaking to people. Can we get flyers or brochures to place in people's doctors' offices? And could we actually get doctors involved? Yes. So you can actually get doctors involved. However, doctors can't get a kickback. You can't make them a part of UpGroup and say, hey, you will receive a commission on this, because there's something called the start clause, which prevents doctors, and all doctors are aware of this, by the way, so you don't have to be educated on this, just letting you know. If you talk to a doctor, the doctor might look at this and say, oh, this is great, I'll refer my patients to it, but they won't do it for money, because they're not allowed to make money by referring patients to a service. And that's to prevent them from abusing their power, right? If they don't want to have a conflict of interest. So this is a very neat system, guys, and a very neat industry. But the more you think about it and some of the things that are set up in there, I I've actually really enjoyed being a part of it. What is the age limit to join UPGROUP? There is no age limit to join UPGROUP. As long as they are functionally literate and they can do things, they're welcome in here. Even an Indian like me can be a part of it. So age is nothing compared to my disability. I will present this to my church groups. Yeah, that's awesome. And 18 years old, yes. So you have to be at least 18 to obviously be in here. Now, however, I can guarantee there are going to be people in here who will create an account, but their kids will be the ones running it, right? There's many people like that. There's a lot of people who have their kids running their ads on Facebook. They have their kids running the actual e-commerce stuff. That happens all the time. So that'll happen here as well, and that's not a problem. Just the person paying for the account obviously has to be 18 because they have to have a credit card in their own name, right? Are we saying that we can only refer patients in our own state? No, absolutely not. That is not what I'm saying whatsoever. What I was saying is that one of the reasons why other companies cannot do this effectively anymore is what they used to do is they would buy a list of people who are on Medicare, and then they would just give it to a call center, and the call center would make calls and try to get those people to go sign up for CGX PGX at a preferred doctor of theirs, right? Something like that. And the regulations that came out basically prevented that. They basically stopped them from doing that because they don't want people to be pitching these services to people who don't need it, right? And that's why our whole system is you make it free, you let the patient do it themselves, the patient puts their information in, a physician recommends the test, and that basically prevents all of these problems. So that's one of the reasons why KFE now exists and why this works. And the other companies that existed before are kind of falling out of the favor of everything else. It's just like how Amazon drove a lot of the other companies out of business. KFE now is driving these old ways of doing patient management out of business.
Guys, in like the first month, I just want to toss that out there. These companies are shutting down. We're the only ones standing. The only ones who can do it, all right? Go after folks who are in those companies, guys. They're looking for a home right now.
If I'm part of a healthcare fair, what is the best way I should go about getting the kits or setting up for the customers? Okay, this is a beautiful question. You are obviously familiar with how this works. This is one of the reasons why other companies are being shut down, because they actually would set up booths at healthcare locations. People would walk in and they would just run over and swab him and try to send that off to a lab. That's not how this works. It has to be recommended. So here's how you do it. You can be a healthcare location at a fair. You can set up a little iPad right on your place. Prefer not being an iPad, use a Galaxy Tab because iPads are Apple devices and you don't want to be taken. I'm kidding. I just do that because Kevin loves Apple stuff. So you can have an iPad or any kind of mobile device. You set that up on your booth, and as somebody comes up, you have them fill out the whole thing and create their KFE account right then and there. Again, this way you are not managing any of their information. You never want to be the ones who are in control of the patient's information or their identifying information, like their driver's license or their ID card or their Medicare card or anything like that. You don't ever want the responsibility of that being on you. So you have them create their KFE Now account, you have them fill it out. And by the way, you have a beautiful angle at healthcare fairs, because as they come up to you, what you say is, this is the new platform. This is basically the Amazon of healthcare. It will figure out, based on where you are in life over time, what you need, what you'll benefit from, and what services you can get at zero cost to you. Everybody will want that, right? Think about that angle. Everybody wants a service like that. Imagine if I said to you, hey, here's a site called Amazon, create an account. It'll figure out what you need at different stages of life. It'll figure out when you're about to have a baby, and it'll automatically buy a little baby bed with a little mattress and whatnot. You'd say, that sounds amazing. Absolutely, I want that. That's what KFE Now is in the healthcare space. So you have a very nice angle. Just make sure you're not the one collecting the information. Let them put the information in themselves. And if you want to, you can have a bunch of kits ordered. You can give them a kit right then, and you can say, here is the kit, here is the protocol. You can do this swab and ship it out, ship it back to the place that's on here. If all of the other criteria matches, we also have some training on how to do the swabs yourself. You can also collect the swabs right then and there if you want to. We will do a very specific training just on that portion on how to do swabs yourself. If you want to do it offline, where you just go around with 10 or 20 kits and swab the right people for it. There's a specific protocol that has to be followed for it. You can send the kit off to the clearinghouse yourself. We just have to make sure that the doctor actually approves on the other side. Okay. So again, guys, it's You just have to wrap your mind around it. Remember, there was a time when you thought selling on eBay and buying from Amazon was a very complicated thing. Today, if somebody says that to you, you kind of go, that's like nothing. That's not even a business model anymore. That's just clicking buttons on a website. Right now, this might seem somewhat complicated, but once you have done it a little bit, you've kind of immersed yourself in it, you'll realize this is incredibly simple. All right. If a person doesn't have insurance or Medicare, can they still get a kit? No, they cannot, because the actual test has to be covered in the background. The lab won't do an analysis when the lab doesn't know how they're going to get paid. And that's actually one of the reasons why, that's another reason why other companies don't exist right now. If you looked at the forms that these other companies had patients sign, their consent forms, let's look at the consent form here. So let me just log into this and show you guys. Okay, so let me know when you guys can see my screen. So you see this patient consent area here, right? Now, the way companies were doing this before is they would have these forms printed out, right? And their sales reps would go out and they would swap people and stuff. And one of the key lines in this consent is exactly what you fill out when you go to a doctor's office, where it says that I, as the patient, affirm that in case insurance doesn't pay for this, I will cover the cost of this particular procedure or treatment or whatever it may be. And you always fill that out when you go to a doctor. I think you might have noticed that. It's a very basic consent. All the other companies had that as a consent. You'll notice that consent is not here because the patient will never be asked to pay. If for whatever reason Medicare declines the payment, patient will not be asked to pay for that test. Okay, that will be covered by Carefree Now in that scenario. And that's why they're very focused on making sure that this is done the right way and only the right people are actually going to have to do this. Does that make sense? Okay, I see a 1. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so hopefully I've addressed everything, guys. Hopefully all of this makes sense and you guys can see why we are kind of excited about this space and why you should probably be very excited about this space and why this will likely be the future of most of where healthcare is going to go. Some of the interesting things that are going on right now is we actually have government level companies, and what that means is there are other governments where unfortunately the governments control what companies function, and there are actually some countries that we are speaking with as of today that are going to be talking with us about implementing this kind of an EHR system for their entire countries. Now, that's a very, very powerful thing because that is affirming that that's where the world is headed. Just like now you have online ordering and purchasing things in all these other countries that you could have never thought about 10 years ago, it's a trend that kind of took over and now it's normalized. This is a trend right now. It'll be normalized in 10 years. It'll be everywhere. So get in, get successful, make a huge monopoly in this while we can, because 10 years from now it'll change. You log into your UPGROUP back office and there will be a different vertical that we'll be talking about as being more important. Alrighty. Okay, guys, I think this was a successful webinar because Norman has admitted that he has made a mess in his pants after this presentation. So that is what we all strive for. That is the ultimate goal.
He does that.
Exactly. I know it's typical, but that's how we know that the webinar should be closed now.
Yep. Hey guys, I just made a post real quick before we close this out because I sense we're about to close this out. Before we do, guys, go into that Facebook group I just posted for you guys, number 1, and just make a post in there and say UPGROUP this is crazy, this is insane, I'm so excited about this. Okay. Here, I'll show my screen. Yeah, there you go. So I'm not going to make a post and say, hey, go comment on it. I just want you guys to come in here and make a post, okay? And I'm going to go through and start approving some posts. I just want to see what you guys think of this in your own words. So toss something in there. Be like, UPGROUP, I'm excited about it. I'm ready to rock with this. I can see me doing, $10,000 a month. I can see me helping people. I can see me change lives. Whatever you see this UPGROUP, how it's going to function in your life, okay? Toss a post in there. I want to see some excitement, engagement. And it's just going to get better and better and better, guys. And for those of you who are not on Pro, I know we have some members in here that are not on Pro. Go get it. Go in your back office, upgrade to Pro, get rocking it out, and then go, once you do that, go make a post as well and say, I just jumped in. I'm at Pro. I just jumped in. I'm ready to go. I'm rocking this out. I'm a Pro member. I just did it. Just took the plunge. Let's go. It's $39 a month for you guys to be able to promote this stuff. This, CBDs, and build your sales force. Promote up group, get on all these calls, and it's nuts. And you guys will find out. For those of you who aren't in our world yet, you'll find out real quick how dedicated we are to your success. So I can't make the link clickable, Bruce. It's impossible. But I can send it again. You have to copy and paste it. If you're on a device, it might be a pain, but yeah, go do it, guys. And I will post this replay in the back office, just this section with Hitesh answering these questions, so you guys can send it to people who have questions. You shouldn't be answering a million questions. Hitesh just did it. So thanks, Hitesh, and this will benefit a lot of people as we move forward.
You are welcome. That was kind of the aim. So I don't think a thanks is necessary.
Yeah. Very cool, guys. Very cool. Any more last questions before we hop off here?
Please explain the difference between referral URL and cleaned URL and which one to use. Please explain yeah, that's actually the same question repeated twice.
I would take all your URLs and clean them, because what's happening is some of the ones that are not clean URLs, if you share them on Facebook, they can get messed up in a message. Okay, so just clean the URLs. It's just a shorter URL. It's a process each, one button to click.
And remember that your standard referral URL is fine. Cleaned URLs are only applied to campaign created links. Your standard referral link is just the standard. It's the one that you have on the setup page. Kevin, I don't know if you want to show it quick.
Yeah.
But the link that you see on the setup page is your standard link. That's your basic referral link. You can use that wherever you want. But when you want to do special tracking and you want to track where you're getting your traffic from, when you're running advertising campaigns and such, for that, you want to use the campaign creator. And in the campaign creator, you can use the clean link.
Yeah, and we went through this on the campaign creator. We went through this. So what he's talking about, guys, is in the system setup. When you come in here and you go to the system setup, you see these links. These are already clean. Some of you might be running around with the / links. Just replace those with these, okay? And then for those of you who are creating, using the Pro Tools and you're creating your campaigns, when you're doing that, when you're going in and creating a new campaign here, and I'm going to put a tutorial video on this page, all right? We go to UpGroup, for example, and use that new funnel that we put in here. This is what they're talking about, make clean. So you're just adding your TID in here wherever you're tracking. This is your tracking ID. It's wherever you're going to go ahead and track. So if you're posting this on a Facebook fan page, you can just type that out, Facebook fan page, whatever. And then when you make that URL clean, it'll pop up. You can name it whatever you want to, or leave those numbers the way it is, and hit create. And these links really are good, especially when you're posting on Facebook, because they won't get messed up by the Facebook algorithm. Facebook likes to add that string of numbers and letters on the end of it, okay? So, yeah, and they'll be training on this page right here sometime tonight. So when you guys wake up in the morning, there'll be another tutorial video right here going through all of this stuff. And this replay will be posted in the webinar replays, and then the portion with Hitesh will be on the MD side, or the CFN side in here under FAQ. All right, we're going to make this an FAQ video. And you guys will have this as a resource in CFN as well to share with people. It'll have your link embedded in it. So when they ask you questions, you can just share them. Okay, guys? So you don't have to answer. You should not be trying to be a Medicare expert. Don't do that. You know, we'll give you the resources to go ahead and be able to share. So when people go, what about this and that and this? Hey, go watch this. It'll answer every single question you have. Okay? Pretty good. Awesome. I think we're good. Make sure you guys toss a post in that Facebook group. And yeah, Tesh, anything else? I think we're ready to jump off. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. It's been like 2 hours, so been a long one.
All right, guys, and hopefully we'll see you on the next webinar. And okay, let's remember what we need to do before the next webinar. Everybody should have their own webinar invitation link. Remember what we're trying to do. The first aim is to build your UpGroup sales team while all of these things are happening in the background. So you will notice on your quick links and on your dashboard, if you go to the dashboard, actually, Kevin, that'll be the easiest. On your dashboard, you will have these two buttons, Opportunity Webinar, register for the webinar or invite guests. Click on invite guests to the webinar. You will find some resources that you can use to invite people to the opportunity webinar. This is building your sales team. You can literally copy paste these messages if you want. We actually had Rodney just do it today. He basically used the message that we have in there, made a slight tweak to it himself, and he's probably had about 20, 30, or 40 people join today alone. So there's stuff like that that you can just take action on immediately. You use that to invite people to the opportunity webinar where they're going to see all of this platform in action. They'll see why they need to be a part of it. Obviously, the angle is amazing. Most of these people are going to join and become part of your sales team. And like we said, there's a lot of people out there that are looking for a new home. They will obviously want to join into this. So they'll all come over here. You will have your sales team. And meanwhile, we're going to keep doing these weekly webinars, and we're going to do some additional training on exactly how to grow CFN more, exactly how to grow MD more. We have the MD online funnels. We have the MD offline stuff. We're going to go over all of that. But this is the most actionable stuff for you. Grab this message, edit this a little bit, physically, actually, literally message that to a person. This is not the FB post. This is the message. For the Facebook post, click on Facebook posts, and you will have a template of a post to create. Use a different image, edit it a little bit. However you want to do it is fine. But that's the general message that works really well. Same thing for the email. Click on the email, get the email, send that out. We're going to be adding additional emails in here as well, additional other messages as well. That's all you got to do. Just invite people to the webinar. You don't have to sell them. We will show them the platform. They will usually sign up. They're not going to chase you down. They won't even have your information. They won't even know that you're the one who actually brought them here, because nowhere in their back office is going to say, all right, guys, now go chase down Norman or chase down Yolanda or chase down Bruce to get information on what to do next. We're already going to be taking care of it. Okay? So this is all you guys need to do, guys. This is the simplest thing you can do. You have to just put out a message saying, here is how to make money in 2019, giving essential services away. That's all. And you will watch your sales team explode. You'll watch your check matches explode. And hopefully you have a very nice income by the time Christmas rolls around this year. I don't even know why I'm talking about Christmas. By the time the Independence Day rolls around. All right. Okay, guys, let's do this. And we will see you all in the next webinar.